Hunter, DC, ME, PMU, a lot of credentials there. But basically, I'm a master esthetician at heart and artist. And I'm here with Kevin Simons, who is the CEO of MDPen. And I'm very excited to have you here, Kevin. I know you're really busy, and I would love to learn more about you and about this brand MDPen that's so successful. And we want to look under the brand and find out, where did this all start? What was the reason you guys got into this, and what's the vision for the future, and how this also can help estheticians, nurse practitioners, med spas really build their businesses as well. So let's get into then. Let's dive in. Tell me more about you.
Well, great. First of all, Dr. Hunter, thank you so much for having us. We're excited about this opportunity to share the story of MDPen. I'm one of the partners with MDPen, and it's really been an exciting journey in regards to getting started with the brand and then growing this brand to the 5,200 various users out there of this device, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So how did you end up here? What's your story? Like, how did you?
Yeah, I was one of these people that spent 21 years doing something that I was passionate about, but I really didn't like it very much.
Gotcha.
So I was in IT sales, and I got a chance to be the business development manager for the Georgia Tech Entrepreneur Society.
Wow.
And that was a really fun experience because before Shark Tank, we were kind of like a Shark Tank in essence. We weren't giving out money, but boy, we gave out really what we thought was really good advice. And so we had panels of entrepreneurs would come up in front of us, and they would go over their issues, their problems, their goals. And what we would do would be to offer advice to them. And so it really was a great experience. And from that, I was at the phase to where I was pivoting the document management business into something else, and happened to get a phone call from one of my friends who says, "Hey, have you ever heard of lipotherm?" And I said, "No, what is it?" He says, "It's a laser that melts fat cells."
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because I've always struggled with my weight, and I'm like, if you could take a laser and melt fat cells, then definitely do it.
Yeah.
So the company called me. I flew out and met with them. And at the end of the day, they said, "What do you think?" I said, "I think I can do this." And so I ended up coming back to Atlanta, resigning from the company, from my company that I was working with. And then I came on board and did this. And I immediately identified with it because doctors, nurses, estheticians, and PAs are a group of entrepreneurs.
That's right.
And so it was absolutely the same thing that I did for the Georgia Tech Entrepreneur Society, but what we were providing made a really big difference for the practices. And so being able to help with that coaching and making recommendations and building a positive ROI and making sure that customer satisfaction is key was the gateway for me in medical aesthetics.
Wow, what a great journey. And I love that you said that we're entrepreneurs, because that is exactly what it is, right? You go to school, you get all these skills, and then you're out to the wolves. Okay, go figure it out, right?
That's right. That's
and
exactly
if you're like us that enjoy the beauty industry and enjoy helping people and not insurance-based necessarily, you have to become an entrepreneur, because there's no real career available. I mean, now there's more, but you're very entrepreneurial. And even the SCs and the nurses that are within the practices are very entrepreneurial, because you're selling your services and the clients are buying into you. So you are kind of a mini entrepreneur, even under a doctor's office, right? So it all starts with that self-motivation and learning those skills. So that's a fantastic story. So how did the laser fat loss work? Where did that go?
It went great. And we were doing exceptionally well. We rolled out a new product called GPS Lipo. Right at the same time, another company rolled out a little device called Cool Sculpting.
Gotcha.
And so there was a little bit of competition there, and I think they won.
Sometimes that happens, right?
That's exactly right. And so as a result of that, I started migrating towards non-invasive procedures. And then right around that time, the pen came into the market.
Gotcha.
And I looked at it, and I'll be totally frank with you and tell you that I was like, are you kidding me? You know, I'm selling $129,000 lasers, and this at that time was a $2,900 pen.
Right.
This pen is going to be what's going to change the world in
Absolutely.
regards to medical aesthetics.
Yeah.
And I started selling a few and was noticing the outcomes. Around that time, Dr. Ronalds with the vampire had really come into the market.
Oh, yeah.
And then Kim Kardashian had the procedure,
That's right. That's I remember that video.
and everything was over after that. You
Wow.
know, it's just been a consistent uphill, just that curve as far as sales and projections and numbers. It just grows and grows and grows every month.
How incredible. You must be just feeling like you won the lottery, right? Like
Yeah,
I just landed
that's
on
right. That's
the
right.
home run, right? And
But
I love that you brought up, just that vulnerability that sometimes you try things and then, competitor just wins, right? That's just the
right.
name of the game. Like even Bezos, he talks about, he goes, you guys see all my stuff that I do well, but did you look at how my fresh thing worked out? Did you look at how my competition against Google didn't work out? So,
That's right.
that's the nature of business, right? So, but this MDPen, and I agree with you. I think it's great. It's easy to add in. It's not super expensive, so you're not investing in $100,000 laser, and it's mobile, right? You can take it with you
Right.
wherever you go. So it's a genius move, and we know that how to. So tell me this then: how does the MDPen sit against, let's say, I'm just going to throw a brand out there, ProCell, for instance, or
Okay.
some other, similar? Can you clarify that for
So
me?
one of the things that we looked at, because I initially started working with Eclipse, which was a company during that time, and they had a product called the MicroPen.
Oh yeah.
And then when I got a chance to be affiliated with MDPen, kind of shifted. Well, one of the things that I noticed during that time is that when you are microchanneling, that you put X number of microchannels into the skin.
Hmm.
And so what I and the team always felt that there weren't enough microchannels to get the best results. And
Gotcha.
so there are one or two ways you can do that. You can add a lot of needles to the
Hmm.
cartridge,
Hmm.
or you can increase the power of the motor and the torque and get more microchannel penetration. And
Okay.
that's what we did. We increased the motor, we increased the torque of the system. And so when we actually use what's called the signature tracing motion,
Hmm.
which is a vertical, horizontal, and a diagonal pass moving at about 1 inch per second, you
Hmm.
could end up to
Wow.
15,500 microchannels every square inch.
That's crazy.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's
So
huge.
let's talk about ProCell.
Yeah.
They're using a stamping mechanism, and when
Mm,
they stamp, they're probably going to put about 100 microchannels into an area.
gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
so our device is variably adjustable, so
Hmm.
you don't have to switch out different needles. One
Mm,
needle does it all, and
wow.
that's the really exciting part. So
Yeah.
power was really important because we equate power with safety.
Right.
Because if you're underpowered and you're tracing across tissue, you're going to snag or drag
Yes.
on the patient's skin.
Hmm.
And so therefore, that's part of our safety profile, is to make sure that the system is running at its optimal speed and that you're getting minor flushing to pinpoint bleeding. It
Gotcha.
doesn't have to be bloody.
Yeah.
It's not the way initially we thought that, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, back in the day, we used to inject radius in the tear trough.
Exactly.
We've all learned a lot along the way, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
The industry is so fun, isn't it?
It is.
Well, that's fantastic, and I agree with you on the power. And I'm comparing it to when we do permanent makeup, because we have a division in permanent makeup that's scar and trauma, which I love these devices for.
Right.
And when you have scars, boy, you need that power, right? You got to break through that tissue and you break those up. And we often sometimes even use tattoo machines and tattoo needles because some of the
Yes.
scars are really tough. So this is fantastic, knowing that this has so much power that you can actually use them on tougher areas that you might have in your practice with scar and trauma, which is a huge industry in itself.
Right.
Okay, great. So that's wonderful. Now, what other features come with it? So we have the power, we get definitely way more saturation with the power behind that, and the fact that you don't have to swap out your needles, right? So what other features are with this pen?
So we also looked at depth of penetration, because when you do have those scars, when you are treating hair, we were involved in an international study for hair rejuvenation, and it was determined that the proper depth of penetration was 3 millimeters. So our pen goes to 3 millimeters, but
Okay.
we also take in consideration when you're treating in the periorbital region, this is some very thin tissue around here.
Yeah.
And so you may need to go at 0.1 millimeter, depending upon the patient,
Yeah.
because you may treat at 0.25 here and go over here and start tracing, and poof,
Yeah.
that it becomes inflamed.
Yeah,
And so you
absolutely.
want to be able to adjust it all the way down. That's really a big difference. And then in regards to the speed, there are about 52 different speed settings
Oh my
that you
goodness.
can adjust
Wow,
for the
that's
amount of
great.
power that you need with the
Okay.
electric device, which
Oh,
is
nice.
excellent.
Yeah, and that's great because, one of the challenges I think most beauty pros have right now, and I mean even just the estheticians on their own or whatever, is there's so much noise about products online. There's so much coming out of, China, and they're just saying, oh, and you see this pen, and it's like, oh, $30, but you don't realize that you're not getting the power. So you're not going to see the results. The needles are sticky and grabby. They're not sharp. And you're just not going to get the results that you really should be getting for your clients, right? So there
Absolutely.
is something to be understanding why, and this is why I love
Absolutely.
talking about this, because when you know the why, then you're gonna buy, right? When you know the why,
That's
you're
right.
gonna buy. So if you're an esthetician, you're a nurse practitioner, and you're thinking about bringing in this, microneedling, microchanneling, big kind of different words we say, devices for your patients, you really should know why you would choose MDPen, right? Because of that power. And I love all the different speeds. That's incredible. A lot of them only come with, a few, and you can tell they're just not heavy weighted. They just don't have the oomph that you should have, some of these devices that you get online. So this is great clarity and good understanding. Now, what kind of, is there other things that accompany the MDPen that they should know about?
Absolutely. So the lifetime warranty is really important. And just when you call the company, and this is just an internal thing, we really don't believe in voicemail as much.
Yeah,
You're going to get a live person on the phone.
I love that.
That's huge. I never forget reading In Search of Excellence, which was a really popular business book a long time ago.
Yeah.
And one of the things they talked about was that back in the day, IBM would automatically pick up their phone on the second ring. It never would go to 3 rings. And it's just having that touch, that attention to detail. If someone is taking their time out to give you a call,
Yeah.
we feel as though that we need to honor them and answer it and begin to solve whatever problem or provide whatever product that they need as quickly as possible. And so
Wonderful.
that's just a part of our ethos
Yeah.
as a company. And so
Customer service, good customer service
yeah,
skills and
yeah,
being there. And I like that because nobody answers the phone anymore, right? And
right.
I like a phone call. I think you like a phone call, and people want answers and they're trying to invest. And if you don't answer the phone, they kind of feel like you don't care sometimes, right? That
That's
it's just, oh,
exactly right.
yeah, I've seen that with some device companies, and I feel the same way. I want that's wonderful. So great customer service, great device. Is there add-on products that they can buy through MDPen that go with them? So can you share some of that with me?
Yes. So everything from your hyaluronic acid, as far as skincare, to copper peptides, to exosomes, to PRP. There's a full line of skincare products that go along with it. So we have about 22 different SKUs as far as skincare, and then add on to the exosomes that are available. And
Wonderful.
then in regards to microneedling, we consider ourselves everything microneedling. So
Yeah,
therefore, we do have traditional and radio frequency microneedling also.
got it.
So we're really excited about the direction of microneedling. We've been working with microneedling with RF for 11 years.
Wow.
So we were involved in the first group that brings RF microneedling to the market.
Yeah,
So to be able to see it is really unique. And every day that we're asked this question, what's the difference?
right.
What's the difference between traditional and RF?
Yeah,
And fundamentally, what I see and have observed for the years is that you're going to get to the same place with a pen as what you will with RF,
Mm-hmm.
unless you have, a tightening issue. If you have those crepey skin or
Mm-hmm.
somewhat less taut skin, then you will need an energy source
Mm-hmm.
to really help it
Yeah.
much faster.
Yeah.
But the pen, when you're looking at acne scars,
Mm-hmm.
the pen, I think, outperforms the RF.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
really interesting. And that's why we like having both,
Yeah.
because we get so many new practices that are starting out. Should I buy, a 60 to $129,000 RF microneedling system
Mm-hmm.
to get started? And I basically say no.
Yeah.
You want to start with a pen. You
Mm-hmm.
want to build up a client base,
Mm-hmm.
because we have a theory: if you can't get a positive ROI with whatever you buy within 1 year, you probably should not have bought it.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
It's just the bottom line. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like build it and they will come does not work when you're running a franchise or running a business.
That's
You
right.
want to make sure that you've got a line out the door, or you
Mm-hmm.
have a complete planned out program as to how you're going to bring people in to be able to purchase that whatever procedure or product it is you have.
I love that you said that because I see that all the time in our coaching. Call it shiny object syndrome.
Right.
I've got all these things, and I've seen plastic surgeons, with their, I call it the most expensive clothes hanger I've ever born. The hanger on the laser machine, because nobody's selling the laser.
That's right.
And there's multiple reasons why that happens. But yeah, I mean, to invest in that kind of overhead right out of the gate when you don't even have the pre-sale audience or don't have the client base, yeah, I would agree. It's much better to start with something that gives you your return right away or very quickly, and then you build slowly, and then you can see what other things you might want to bring in. But that is a big mistake that I see a lot of people do. Now, some of them, they need the lasers, they want to invest, but you don't
Right.
need 5 lasers. You get one laser, start there, and then use the MDPen and start building that wonderful patient base or client base that you have. So that's great. So pivoting into that, let's talk about ROI, right?
Yeah.
What of our making the money? And I feel that a lot of people in the beauty industry put so much investment in their skills, but they're not really investing as much time in their business skills, right? I'm sure you've
Right.
seen that. It's because we just love treating clients. We love being in that world, and the business side sometimes can be kind of dull, but it's a
Yeah.
very important side, because getting rewarded financially for your time invested in your education is what you're here for. You're not here to suffer. So we have to talk about ROI. We have to talk about these things. And, tell me what a typical ROI, like, someone bought the pen and they had a moderate practice and they had some clients, what are you seeing as far as, typical, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but just like a general
No, but
range.
this
Yeah.
is really good, because when you get to your 13th procedure, your device should be paid for.
Love it.
That's
That's
huge.
easy. That's easy.
That's really,
Yeah.
I mean, friends, family, and people that like you.
Right.
I mean, there's 13 people out there that are
Mhm.
willing to spend, and what we're seeing as far as the national average now is
Mhm.
trending up a little bit.
Yeah.
Typically, we used to say 300. We're
Mhm.
seeing close to 350 right now. We're
Okay.
seeing a little bit of a trend up as far
Mhm.
as pricing is concerned, and even in some of these markets that have been soft, for quite a while,
Yeah.
we're seeing a trend there.
Wow.
So at that 13th procedure, you're cash flow positive on the device.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. That's a fast turnaround, right, for most
It really
devices.
is.
So it's kind of a no-brainer in a way. It almost seems like, to me, every beauty provider should have one of these devices, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just part of what you're going to be doing. If you're an SD, if you're an RN, you're not going to just do Botox. They're going to ask about their skin. They're going to want to have all these things taken care of. And for permanent makeup artists that you maybe do skincare, you've got the scar and trauma that you can do. I don't know, do you have to be esthetician licensed for this MDPen, or is it fall under tattoo as well, or is it kind of gray?
It depends upon the state.
Okay, yeah, for
And
state.
so it varies. And so what we tell everyone to do, check with your board.
Check with your board, absolutely. Yeah, because in the tattoo world, they can use the needles and they can technically tattoo it. So yeah, but I would agree. Check with your state individually. Make sure you know the regulations and that you're in compliance with everything. Well, this is fantastic, Kevin. I love this. Very informative. We know about behind the scenes of the MD Pen. It was so great to get that story. And is there any new things coming around the bend? You've got products. Is there any new devices coming around or upgrades or something we should know about? Or we just...
Yes, this is an exciting time. So actually 2 new devices coming into the market, and we're really thrilled to do this. Has been a long time working, really about 5 years on some of these products, and to get them, just about over the finish line, it's really been, a long journey, but it's exciting to do it. One of the things that I've always liked introducing new products and getting the buzz around it and getting everything going, especially when you've got a really good client base and a lot of advocates out there for your products or ambassadors. I was on the phone today with one of our practices in Boston, and they actually have an amazing bride business. And so they bring in a lot of brides, and they're also obviously doing microneedling. And so they're coming out with their new packages, and then just talking to them about some of the innovations and things that we're seeing in the field and we're bringing to the market. So there are little tweaks and changes that we think that is going to really make a big difference. I think microneedling is going to be here for a really long time.
I would agree with you. It
is a beautiful procedure. It really is.
It's a beautiful procedure, and I think it's a staple in aesthetics. It's not, it's like Botox, or actually more than Botox, because people, men, women, hair, everything. And I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg of what we can do with the skin and how we can manipulate it and do things. And I love the fact that it blends in, so many different arenas. I think it's a staple, for pretty much any aesthetic practice. I would agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what you're going to see in the next few days from us, that we're going to start targeting ears. People don't talk about ears.
Ears.
Microneedling ears.
You're right.
The lips. Working on the lips, retexturizing the lips.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the nose with enlarged pores has always been a thing. But, above the valerium border, is really important. Obviously, neck has been a thing, a big time, but really focusing in on the periorbital treatments too, because we actually have in the market right now 2 different needles. We have the Restore, which is from 0.1 to 3 millimeters. And then we have the Refine, which is from 0.1 to 0.5. And so it has 160 needles in the cartridge.
Wow.
And so there's so many things that we can do for cellular turnover. Some of the things, I call it the guy's needle.
Yeah.
Some people call it nano, but you don't have to have numbing to do it.
Wow.
And so all the ways, guys are tough until you start doing it.
So you start poking on them. Exactly. I would agree with you. Yeah. I know my husband, if I want to just do his eyebrows, he's like, oh, get away. The waxing.
No.
Forget about it.
It amazes me what women can do. I mean, it's like unbelievable.
We are we're super powerful. Yes, we are.
Yes, that's right. Yes, you are. And so to have that needle to be able to do that is really important.
Yeah.
We love that. And so that's actually something that's happening. And we're really excited about where exosomes are. And so for that practice that doesn't necessarily, want to do PRP or to deal with the drawing the blood and everything, now we've got a solution for them.
Yeah.
For a long time, they kind of stayed away from it.
Yeah.
So that whole rollout is really important. Our product that we have is called Copper Mist. It has copper, zinc, manganese, and hyaluronic acid in it. Very pure and simple product. It's great for nourishment, hydration, and protection. Being able to build upon that platform is going to be really, really good. So when your patient leaves you, you've got something they can take and hydrate their skin every 2 hours because of epidermal water loss. You need something to do that. And that's a great solution for it. So a lot of really good things
Ooh, I'm
being developed
excited.
coming up. Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
we're gonna have to have another call on these products and everything. It's very exciting. Well, Kevin, I don't want to keep you too long. I really appreciate this time with us. I'm gonna get this out the door so everybody can hear about this. We'll put links down below as well, so you can go get your MDPen and talk to Kevin and his team, and get on board if you haven't gotten on board yet with this, because it's not going anywhere. This is the wave of the future.
That's
People
right.
want less invasive. They don't want low downtime. And this complements everything. Plastic surgery complements if you've had scar and trauma, hair, men, women, everything. So it's a win-win all the way around. One of my favorite types of treatments ever. And so I'm very excited to have met you. And we'll talk again soon.
Great. Thank you so much for